Page 52, theme from Liebesträume No. 3 by Liszt. It's a very famous piece, so you'll find all kinds of recordings of this. I even did a recording of it on my other channel. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description. It's gorgeous. I'd like to point out a few things and I'd like to make a few suggestions. At the beginning, you see the dotted line that connects the first two notes together between the staves? That's simply telling you it's melody. The G in the left hand is melody. It's a pickup beat, so it goes from here to here. And since you're going to bring out the melody, you are going to bring it out, you got to play that a little louder. Is what they're after. You'll see this dotted line going between the staves in various places, and that's the reason. It's pointing down. The melody went down to the bottom staff. So in the right hand, starting out okay, if you can, play the top note louder than the other. Now this is in 6/8 time, so you counting 8 notes, right? 8th notes. I'll get there, just a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's tied. You're going to hang on to it for 5 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the left hand gets the melody, and then the right hand goes down to it. That's the melody for the most part. Now, over on page 53, third line down, you're here, and then here. I like to try and connect things a little more legato than this. I'm going to suggest a little different fingering. Start with the last measure of the second line in the right hand. This is on page 53. From the F sharp, I'm going to recommend you play the first notes in the third line with 1/5. Just bring the thumb up and play them. And then do a 3/4 on those. I want to connect them both. I want to connect this and this. And this lets me do that. And then you can lift, and there's a fermata on that, by the way. You hang on to it for whenever, I don't know. Then it goes on with a melody. Left hand. At the beginning, because the first note is melody, you got to play the first note louder and then soft. Can you do that? And this second full measure there. Here they got a 1/5 and then a 5 again. The pedal would help you here, but I prefer to do this with a 4/1 and then a 5, so I can connect these with the fingers. The G sharp is tied. You don't play it again. You hang on to it. And then next measure is G natural. And then second line, first measure, the A is melody. Play it louder. And then soft. For the third measure of the second line, I recommend a 3/2. So it's from the previous notes and then here. For the last measure of page 52 in the left hand, I recommend a 5/1. Okay, because the 8th note you played with the second finger, so just. Bottom of page 53, last line. First measure, you're here. Then you got a bunch of rests. The next measure, you're here. And then you're here. 3/2. And then you're going to lift up. Last 2 measures. The hands together. You have the arpeggiated line there on the first notes, the B and the G. So you're going to arpeggiate them. That means play them one at a time quickly. I play the B on the beat. And then here. And then the last measure on that arpeggiated line, the chord, we're going to play each of those notes one at a time. And on this piece, I play these more like quarter notes. They're just real slow. It's still a rolled chord. It's arpeggiated. It's just arpeggiated very, very slowly. You see, when you get an arpeggiated chord like that, you have to decide on the situation, on how fast you're going to roll it or not. You don't on a piece like this that's so gentle and ending softly like this, don't end it quickly. It's out of context. Slowly. bottom note comes on the beat, and you just roll it, and you're just not really counting anymore. Now you're just going to hold on to it and let it die away. So when you put the hands together on the rest of it, it's here. The dynamics start out sort of soft, and that's for the melody. Everything else is softer, but now you're going to get a little louder. The idea isn't really to get louder here. The idea is to make the music flow. We want the music to go to here. We want to feel like it's moving there. Go to here. And the way of doing that is to just get a little louder. Don't get a lot louder. In the second line, you're coming down. You're finishing that sentence. You get up to here. You just let the music roll and flow along. It's really important. On page 53 in the second line, it says poco a poco crescendo, means little by little get louder. So you're starting out, you can start out soft if you'd like to. Now I'm up. You have to plan it out or you'll get loud too soon. You don't want to be loud until the next line. So plan it out. If I'm soft here, now in the next measure I'll be medium soft, and then the last measure of that line I'll be medium loud. Now I'm loud. Gonna hang on that. When I do the play with me, I'm just gonna add another beat to it, and then lift up and go on. And here we're soft again. See, they have a ritardando in that first measure of that line. When you slow down, well, you got a fermata. So that kind of, whatever. I don't know if that slowing down is going to help you any with a fermata. Because you're going to hang on to the fermata for a bit. You feel how long you hang on to it. And then you go on. And all tempo means resume your original tempo, speed. Last line, very soft, because you have that crescendo decrescendo in the last three measures of that third line. To go, remember we're going to here. Now come soft, and then now you're starting soft. You're going to get a little. Stay soft. You can get a little louder here. Then it gets to very soft. Now, learn all the mechanics first, and then you can start feeling the music. I'd like to talk the pedal. I have some suggestions on the pedal here. This note is melody, that note is melody. I wanted to connect them. That's a problem, because the left hand in the next note, the chord, the left hand needs that key. I can't connect it when it does that. There's going to be a little silence because I got to get off it in the right hand, or that first note, I got to get off it to play it again. I cannot connect it to here. So I'm suggesting you pedal it on the pickup beat. Rather than putting the pedal down at the beginning of the measure, put the pedal down right after you play the pickup beat and leave it down. That connects it. This is overlapping pedal now. And on the last measure of the first line, I lift the pedal up after I play the quarter note. And it's okay to have a little silence between the last note in the first line and the first note in the second line. The two E's, that's okay. So we don't need to pedal it again until the second line. But I'm recommending you change the pedal to follow the phrasing. They don't do that. And it's throughout. So let's work on this because it's all over the place. The first measure of the second line on page 52. We're here. That ends a phrase. This is a new phrase. That's a whole different phrase. So I'm recommending we lift the pedal up with the left hand before we play the eighth note, so we get a little silence there. You can connect the two A's if you want by putting the pedal down right after and then lifting it up on the second A. So it's this way. If you want. You don't have to connect the A's. Then in the last two measures of page 52, here, pedals down. Before I play the 8th note in the left hand, I want to lift the pedal up so I get it's a break in the it's a new phrase. I don't want to connect this and this. No, it's backwards. The break, they're showing it in the wrong place. I think that's actually an error. They should show the pedal break between the last two notes in the left hand, between the quarter note and the 8th note. There's a break in sound there, so it's here. Lift it up, lift up the pedal with the right hand, sort of, before you go on, and then put it down immediately after, because again, this is like at the beginning, we want to connect it, and we can't unless we use the pedal. So that last two measures of that page is here. And this is in various places. Same thing, every time you run into it, do it this way. And then that takes us over to second line on page 53, and the first measure. Now they're showing the pedal coming up when it's supposed to, but in order to connect the C's, I'm going to recommend put the pedal down immediately. We do want to connect these C's. And then in the third line, first measure, lift the pedal up with the hands before we go on, and then push the pedal down after the 8th note to connect them. It's the same as what we've been doing. Last line, you're here, lift the pedal up with the left hand so we get a little silence before we go on. Then lift the pedal up in the third measure after you play the 8th notes, the F sharp, D sharp. We don't pedal this. And then the last measure, put the pedal down right after you play the C in the left hand. And there's a pedaling technique I'll show you here. It'll work on an acoustic, and it'll work on some of the more expensive electronic pianos, because I tested one out yesterday at Piano Club. The lady had an electronic piano, a really nice one, and I tested out the pedal, and this does work very nicely. And that is, you can fade out with the pedal. So at the end, you're playing the chord and the pedal's down. What we do is we just lift up the keys, but keep the hands on the keyboard and gently lift up the pedal. Slowly lift it up, and you'll find the sound will die away very nicely. Now, we don't lift the hands off the keys because we don't want anybody watching to know what we're doing. We're sneaky here. So we keep the hands down, we just lift the keys up and then slowly lift the pedal up. And if you have a well-regulated piano, then you shouldn't get too much buzzing and things going on. Now, if you have an electronic piano and your pedal won't fade out like that, you have to reach up and turn the volume slowly down and fade out that way. It's very effective. What we don't want to do is end a piece like this that ends soft and gently. We don't want to just end it abruptly like that, because that's out of character for the piece. And I've heard people who know better do that. Now, I'd like to play this slowly. And if you'd like to play along, go ahead. And we'll see what happens. I'm going to give 5 counts, and then I'm going to start. Because we're counting 8th notes here, 5 8th notes. The fermata on page 53, in the third line down, first measure, I'm going to hold that 2 extra 8th notes. And the fermata at the end, I'm going to hold that whenever. It's just, I don't know how long I'm going to hold it. I'm just going to hold it. So, here we go. Right hand, left hand, foot's on the pedal. 1, 2, 3, ready, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3. 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on for it for a while and then let go.